Chosen one, did God forget your name? Have you been sitting in this chair night after night, wondering if your moment already passed you by? Are you starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, it's too late for you? Listen to me, right now. What I'm about to tell you is going to shatter that lie so completely that you'll never doubt your worth again. There's a clock on your wall. Maybe it's ticking softly in the kitchen. Maybe it's glowing dim on your nightstand. And tonight, exactly at the 11th hour, God said, I'm showing up. Not tomorrow, not someday, tonight. I know what you're carrying. The house is quiet now. The kids moved on. The phone doesn't ring like it used to. Your body reminds you every morning that time keeps moving. And somewhere deep inside, you've been whispering a question you're almost afraid to say out loud. Did I miss it, Lord? Did you move on without me? No, He didn't. Let me tell you something the world won't. God does His absolute best work at the 11th hour. Not the 1st, not the 5th, the 11th. Right when you think the door is closing, that's when He kicks it wide open. You know the thief on the cross, saved in his final breath, one prayer, one moment, eternity changed. Abraham and Sarah, they were old, pushing 100 when God said, now you get the promise. The world said, it's over. God said, we're just getting started. See, the world looks at your age and calls it a sunset. But heaven looks at you and says, I just turned the page. You're not in your last chapter, you're in your defining one. Before this message ends, I'm going to show you exactly why God waited this long to move in your life, and it wasn't punishment, it was protection. There's a specific kind of person God always visits at the 11th hour, and I'm going to prove to you that you're exactly that person. But you've got to stay with me all the way to the end. This isn't background noise while you fold laundry. This is a divine appointment between you and the God who never stopped watching you. If you feel something stirring in your chest right now, if your spirit just woke up, type, I'm still here, Lord, in the comments. Let heaven see your yes. And listen, I want to thank every single one of you who've supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel forgotten in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful. Your presence here, your attention, your time, it all matters. If this word resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow that seed. Because here's the truth that's going to set you free. You think the 11th hour means you're running out of time. But in the kingdom, the 11th hour means God just walked into the room. Why didn't He answer when you were younger? Why did He let you lose the house, the job, the person you thought you couldn't live without? Why does it feel like God waited until you had gray hair and tired knees before He finally decided to show up? Let's be real about it. You're not a bad Christian for asking why. You're human, and you've been carrying questions that weigh more than any suitcase you've ever lifted. Questions like, Lord, why didn't you heal my spouse when I begged you on my knees? Why did you let me walk through that financial collapse when I was tithing every single week? Why did my children have to see me struggle? Why did you wait until I'm this old to finally move? I see you. God sees you. And tonight, I'm going to tell you something that's going to shift everything you thought you understood about divine timing. You think God was late. But what if I told you He was right on time and the delay saved your life? Picture this. You're standing on a train platform in Grand Central. The train is supposed to arrive at 9 a.m., but 9 comes and goes, then 9:30, then 10. You're furious, you're pacing, you're checking your watch every 30 seconds thinking, I'm going to miss everything. But what you don't know, what you can't know from where you're standing, is that 3 miles ahead there's a section of track that collapsed in the rain last night. If that train had left on time, you would have been on it. And it would have derailed. God didn't delay your train. He prevented your destruction. Let me take you to the Bible. John chapter 11. Lazarus is dying. His sisters, Mary and Martha, send word to Jesus. Lord, the one you love is sick. And here's what blows my mind. Jesus waits. He doesn't rush. He doesn't panic. He stays where he is for 2 more days. By the time he arrives, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. 4 days. Martha meets him at the gate and says, what you've probably said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Translation, you're late. You missed it. Where were you? But Jesus wasn't late. He was strategic. See, if he had shown up earlier, he would have healed a sick man. But because he waited, because he let it look like failure, like abandonment, like the end, he got to raise a dead man. Healing is powerful. But resurrection? Resurrection shakes the whole region. Resurrection changes history. God didn't show up late. He showed up at the exact moment when only a miracle could explain what happened next. You think he forgot you, but he was setting you up for something so big that if he did it earlier, you would have settled for a healing when he wanted to give you a resurrection. Let me hit you with another one. The children of Israel at the Red Sea. Pharaoh's army closing in from behind, water blocking them in front, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. They're screaming at Moses, "Did you bring us out here to die? We should have stayed in Egypt." And God waits. He waits until the chariots are so close they can hear the horses breathing. He waits until there is no human solution left. And then, and only then, he splits the sea wide open. Why? Because if he had moved earlier, they would have credited their own strategy. But when he waits until the last second, there's only one explanation. God did this. That's where you are right now. God has let it get so tight, so impossible, so late, that when he moves tonight at the 11th hour, nobody will be able to say it was luck, coincidence, or your own effort. They'll have to say, that was God. Now let me tell you what God was really doing during all those years you thought he was silent. He wasn't ignoring you, he was arranging you. Every closed door was him closing off a path that would have destroyed you 5 years down the line. Every financial struggle was him teaching you how to trust him when the bank account says 0. Every loss, every betrayal, every night you cried yourself to sleep. God was building something in you that you couldn't get any other way. He was building capacity. See, the blessing he's about to release is so heavy, so massive, so beyond anything you've ever carried, that if he gave it to you back then, it would have crushed you. You weren't ready. Not because you were weak, because the weight required a stronger foundation, and God spent all these years pouring that foundation in secret. You think the delay was punishment. It was preparation. The world told you that being older means you're running out of options. But God says being older means you're finally ready to carry what you couldn't carry before. He trusted you with a harder waiting room because he knew you could carry more glory than the person who got their answer in their 20s. And here's the part that's going to wreck you in the best way. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you the one thing God checks in your heart before he shows up at your 11th hour. It's the final piece. And once it clicks into place, heaven moves. But right now, I need you to do something. If you've ever looked up and said, "Lord, why so late?" don't you dare click away. Say it out loud right now. I won't leave the waiting room. Say it, mean it, because the doctor is still in. It was about your preparation. If he had come earlier, you would have settled for a miracle when he's about to give you a legacy. If he had answered sooner, you would have celebrated relief when he's about to hand you resurrection. The 11th hour isn't when you run out of time. The 11th hour is when God walks in and says, "Now watch what I can do." You know what keeps you up at 2 a.m.? It's not just insomnia. It's not just your bladder or your back or the medication wearing off. There's something else moving in that room with you. Something you can't see, but you absolutely feel. And you've been wondering your whole life why sleep doesn't come easy. Why peace feels like a luxury you can't afford. Why, even in your own bed, in your own home, you feel like you're still fighting something. Let me tell you what's really happening. You've been in a war you never signed up for, a war that doesn't make the news, a war with no medals, no recognition, no parade at the end. But it's been raging over your life since the day you were born, and the fact that you're still breathing, that's not luck, that's not chance. That's proof that heaven assigned angels to your case and said, don't let them fall. You think you made it this far on your own strength? You think you survived that car accident on good reflexes? You think you walked away from that heart scare because of good genes? No. There were hands you didn't see holding the wheel. There were wings you couldn't feel surrounding that hospital bed. There were prayers going up from people you've never even met, and heaven responded every single time. Psalm 91 says it plain. He will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways, not some of your ways, all of them, the ones you remember and the ones you forgot. The close calls you talk about and the ones you never even knew happened. That night you almost didn't wake up. The devil had his hand on your chest, but God said, not yet. I still have plans for them. That phone call that stopped you from making the worst decision of your life, that wasn't coincidence. That was interruption from the throne room. That moment when you should have been in that car, on that plane, in that place where tragedy struck, but something made you late. Something made you change your mind. That was God moving pieces on a board you couldn't see. You've been protected in ways you'll never fully understand until you get to heaven, and God plays back the footage. And on that day, you're going to fall to your knees when you see how many times he caught you. How many times the enemy came for you and got turned back at the door. But here's what I need you to understand. The 11th hour isn't just about God showing up. It's about God finally revealing what he's been doing in the background all along. See, the prophet Daniel prayed for 21 days, 21 days of nothing, silence, crickets. And Daniel could have thought, God's not listening, God doesn't care. Maybe I'm not worth answering. But the angel finally showed up and said, Daniel, from the very first day you prayed, your words were heard, but I was delayed. There was a battle in the heavenly realms. The prince of Persia withstood me. You hear that? Daniel's prayer was heard immediately, but the answer got held up in spiritual traffic, not because God was slow, because the enemy was fighting to keep the blessing from reaching him. And that's your story too. Every delay you've experienced wasn't God ignoring you. It was hell trying to block what heaven already released. Every closed door wasn't rejection, it was warfare. Every time you thought, why is this taking so long? It's because there's been a fight in the invisible realm over your destiny, and the enemy has been losing ground inch by inch, year by year. That's why you're exhausted. That's why some nights you wake up feeling like you've been wrestling all night long, because you have been. Not in your bed, in the spirit. And whether you knew it or not, you've been winning. I'm going to say something that's going to hit you hard, so brace yourself. If the enemy could have taken you out, he would have done it a long time ago. The fact that you're still here at this age, with everything you've been through, is evidence that hell tried and heaven said no. You should have been gone in that accident. You should have been destroyed by that betrayal. You should have been buried by that depression. You should have been consumed by that addiction. But you're not. You're here, watching this, listening to this. And that's not random. The surveillance footage from heaven shows rescue after rescue after rescue, moments when angels stepped in, moments when God himself said, touch not my anointed, moments when the enemy had to back off because there was a bloodline covering over your life that he couldn't cross. And now, at the 11th hour, God isn't just showing up to save you. He's showing up to reveal to you how many times he already did. Before we go any further, I need to invite you into something. Before we reach the final part of this message, I'm going to lead you in a simple 11th hour prayer that forces the enemy to release what he's been holding back. But first, I need you to acknowledge what you now know to be true. If you know you should have been gone a long time ago, whisper it right now. Thank you for every unseen rescue. And if you're still standing when you had every reason to fall, type "still standing" in the comments. let heaven see your testimony. Because here's the truth that'll change everything. The fact that you made it all the way to this video, at this age, in this exact hour, is proof that hell failed and heaven prevailed over your life story. And if God fought that hard to keep you alive, what do you think He's about to do now that you finally know the truth? Now, listen close, because we're about to go deeper than most preachers will take you. You see, the 11th hour isn't just about when God shows up, it's about what He finds when He gets there. God doesn't just look at your circumstances at the 11th hour, He looks at your heart. And beloved, that's where the real battle has been fought all along, not in your bank account, not in your doctor's report, not even in your broken relationships. The war has been raging inside your chest in that secret place where nobody else can see. Let me ask you something, and I need you to be honest with yourself right now. Are you bitter? I'm talking about the kind of bitterness that sits in your stomach like old coffee. Bitterness toward the family member who walked away. Bitterness toward the church that hurt you. Bitterness toward friends who forgot you existed once you couldn't keep up anymore. Maybe, and this is the hardest one, bitterness toward God Himself for letting it all happen. You haven't said it out loud, but He knows. He's always known. And here's what bitterness does. It builds a wall between you and the very miracle you've been crying out for. You can pray all night long, but if your heart is wrapped in barbed wire, heaven's hands can't reach in to heal you. Or maybe it's not bitterness, maybe it's blame. You've been telling yourself the same story for years now. It's all my fault. I ruined everything. If I had just been smarter, stronger, more faithful, maybe my life wouldn't look like this. You carry that weight like a 100-pound chain around your neck. Every step is exhausting because you're dragging yesterday's failures into today's promise. Let me tell you what God says about that. He says, "You're right, you made mistakes, but I already paid for them. So, why are you still charging yourself? Or maybe you've moved past bitterness and blame, and now you've landed in the most dangerous place of all, resignation. You've stopped fighting. You've stopped praying with fire. You've stopped believing anything can really change. You look at your reflection and think, this is it. This is all there's ever going to be. You're breathing, but you're not alive. You're existing, but you're not expecting. Can I tell you what that does to heaven's heart? It grieves Him, because resignation is the enemy's final trick. He couldn't kill you, so now he's trying to convince you to bury yourself. But God is stepping into your 11th hour tonight, and He's saying, not on my watch. David understood this. Listen to what he prayed in Psalm 139. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me, and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. You hear that? David didn't pretend to be perfect. He said, Lord, I can't even see all the junk that's inside me. You look, you search, you clean it out. That's the posture God is looking for at the 11th hour, not perfection, permission. He's not asking you to have it all figured out. He's asking you to open the door and let Him in. He's not demanding flawless faith. He's asking for honest surrender. He wants to hear you say, Lord, I'm a mess, but I'm your mess. You can still use me. I'm not done yet. Because here's the truth that's going to set you free tonight. God is not punishing you with time. He's preparing you with time. Every hard year, every lonely night, every prayer that felt like it bounced off the ceiling, it wasn't wasted. God was working on your heart. He was removing the pride that would have destroyed the blessing. He was softening the bitterness that would have poisoned the miracle. He was teaching you to trust Him when you couldn't see Him, so that when He finally moves, you won't take the credit, you'll give Him the glory. That's why He waits until the 11th hour. Because at the 11th hour, you're finally ready. Not because you're strong, because you're surrendered. So right now, I want you to do something with me. If you can, put your hand over your heart. Just rest it there. Feel it beating. That heartbeat is proof that God isn't finished with you yet. Now say this with me, out loud if you're able. Lord, check my heart before you change my life. Say it again. Lord, check my heart before you change my life. If bitterness is there, let him pull it out by the root. If blame is there, let him wash it away. If resignation is there, let him breathe fire back into your bones. You don't have to clean yourself up first. Just give him access. If that's your honest desire right now, I want you to type one word in the comments: search me. Let heaven see that you're not hiding anymore. Let the enemy know you're done playing dead. Because, listen to me, God is not coming to your 11th hour to condemn you. He's coming to restore you. And when he shows up tonight and finds a heart that's been searched, surrendered, and made ready, there's nothing he can't do through you. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much time you think you've wasted. The God who raised Lazarus from a tomb after 4 days of death is the same God standing at your door right now, waiting for you to unlock it. So the question isn't whether God will show up at your 11th hour. The question is, when he does, will he find a heart he can trust? Because in just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly what God is about to restore when you give him this kind of heart at the 11th hour. And, beloved, it's going to blow your mind. Now listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake loose every bit of doubt you've been carrying. God doesn't move like the world moves. The world says you're too late. God says you're right on time. The world says your best years are behind you. God says, I saved the best wine for last. You've been sitting there night after night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if anything can still change, wondering if that phone will ever ring, wondering if that door you prayed about for 20 years will ever crack open, wondering if peace will ever replace the knot in your chest when the lights go out. I'm here to tell you exactly, at the 11th hour, God reverses what man called permanent. Let me paint you a picture. There's a courtroom. The case has been open for decades. The file is thick, full of disappointments, delays, diagnoses you didn't ask for, relationships that fractured, dreams you buried. The gavel came down years ago. The world stamped it closed. But tonight, right now, the judge of all heaven walks back into that courtroom, picks up that file, and stamps it one more time. This time it says, reversed. That's what happens at the 11th hour. You know what older saints tell me? They whisper it like a confession. Pastor, I just want my son to call me. I just want to hear his voice one more time before I go. Sister, that's not too much to ask. That's an 11th hour prayer, and I've seen God do it. I've watched the phone ring at 10:47 p.m., a number that hadn't appeared in 3 years, and suddenly a voice on the other end says, Mom, I don't know why, but I needed to hear you tonight. Exactly at the 11th hour, God moves hearts that wouldn't budge at noon. Some of you aren't waiting for a call. You're waiting for peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't run away the second you close your eyes. You're tired of lying there at 2 a.m. with your mind racing through bills, through regrets, through what-ifs. You're exhausted from white-knuckling your way through every single day. Here's what heaven says. You've carried that weight long enough. At the 11th hour, I'm taking it. And I'm not talking theory. I'm talking about that supernatural exchange that happens when God shows up. Anxiety that's lived in your chest for 40 years gone, replaced with a lightness you forgot existed. It doesn't make sense medically. It doesn't make sense emotionally. But it makes sense spiritually, because exactly at the 11th hour, God does what pills couldn't do. Now let me go deeper. Some of you are dealing with something even heavier. Your body. You look in the mirror and you see limitation. You see weakness. You see a frame that used to carry you everywhere, and now it struggles to get you across the room. And the enemy whispers, you're done. You're a burden. You're in everybody's way. Stop. Right there. You are not a burden. You are a bridge. Do you hear me? A bridge between generations. Your prayers are holding up families you don't even see. Your wisdom is anchoring grandchildren who are going to need it 10 years from now. And God is not done using that body. He just needs enough strength in you to do what He's calling you to do next. and he specializes in 11th hour strength. Moses was 80 when God said, "Now you're ready to lead a nation." 80. The world said, "Retire, old man." God said, "I'm just getting started with you." And here's the part that's going to wreck you in the best way. Some of you are worried about money, I know. Social security isn't stretching like it used to. The bills keep coming. You're wondering how you're going to make it through winter, through next month, through tomorrow, and you're ashamed to even say it out loud because you think God is disappointed in you for needing provision at this stage. Let me destroy that lie right now. Jesus told a story in Matthew 20. Workers showed up at dawn, worked all day, sweating, grinding, exhausted. Then at 5 p.m., the 11th hour, another group shows up. They work 1 hour. And when the pay comes, same wage. Full day's pay for 1 hour of work. The early workers got bitter. That's not fair. But the landowner said, "I can do what I want with what is mine. Are you envious because I am generous?" You hear that? Heaven's pay scale doesn't work like Earth's. You may feel late to everything, late to success, late to stability, late to the breakthrough, but God is about to pay you like you worked the full day. He's about to release provision that doesn't match your hours. It matches His generosity. Exactly at the 11th hour, God provides what man said was impossible. Now here's what I need you to do. If you're believing for an 11th hour reversal in your house, in your health, in your family, in your finances, type 11th hour turnaround right now in the comments. Don't keep this to yourself. Share this message with one person you love who needs to hear that it's not over. Because here's the climax of everything I've been building toward. You thought this would be the chapter where you fade out quietly, where you slip into the background, where your voice gets softer and your story gets smaller. But God is turning this into the chapter where your testimony gets loud. The world wanted you to shrink. God is about to amplify you. The enemy wanted you silent. God is about to give you a megaphone. What you've been through, what you've survived, what you've endured in the dark, that's not your shame. That's your sermon. And when God shows up tonight, exactly at the 11th hour, everything you thought was ending is about to explode into your greatest beginning. So, don't you dare give up now, because the judge just walked back into the courtroom, and he's holding your file, and the stamp is coming down. Let me talk to that voice in your head right now. The one that's been whispering ever since you clicked on this video. You know the voice I'm talking about. It's saying, "Here we go again. Another message, another promise, another night of getting my hopes up for nothing." I hear you. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that voice is demonic. Sometimes that voice is just your heart trying to protect itself from one more disappointment. You've been let down before. You've prayed before. You've believed before. And when the sun came up the next morning, everything looked exactly the same. So why should tonight be any different? That's the question, isn't it? That's the weight sitting on your chest right now. You want to believe. God knows you want to believe. But you're terrified. Terrified that if you open your heart one more time, if you let hope back in, you'll wake up tomorrow morning feeling more foolish and more alone than you did yesterday. Let me tell you something. That fear, that's not a sign you're far from God. That fear is proof you're inches away from breakthrough. Stay with me. Look at the disciples in that boat. Matthew 8. The storm is raging, waves crashing over the side. These men, fishermen who've spent their whole lives on water, are convinced they're about to die. And where's Jesus? Asleep. Dead asleep in the back of the boat. They're screaming, water's filling the hull, and he's sleeping like it's a Sunday afternoon. Why? Because Jesus knew something they didn't. He knew the storm wasn't the end. He knew deliverance was 30 seconds away. But right before he calmed that sea, they were at their most terrified. Right before the miracle, they thought it was over. You see the pattern? Look at Israel trapped at the Red Sea, Exodus 14. Egypt's army closing in from behind, water stretching out in front, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and the people are panicking. We're going to die out here. Why did you bring us to this place? And right then, right when fear peaked, God split the sea wide open. The fear spiked because the breakthrough was next. That's where you are right now. You think the fear means God's far away, but the fear means you're standing right up against the wall, and on the other side of that wall is everything God promised you. The enemy knows it. That's why he's throwing everything he's got at your mind right now. That's why doubt is screaming louder than it has in months. He's not fighting you because you're weak. He's fighting you because you're dangerous. He's fighting you because you're about to step into something he can't stop. So, let me ask you something. What if the fear you're feeling right now isn't a sign to quit? What if it's the final test before the door swings open? Because here's what I've learned in 50 years of walking with God. Spiritual warfare always intensifies right before deliverance. Always. The noise gets louder because you're closer. The pressure gets heavier because you're almost through. Think of it like this. You're in a house with many rooms. You've been walking through hallway after hallway, and now you're standing in front of the final door. The room you've been praying for is right there. But before you open that door, you start hearing sounds on the other side. Footsteps, whispers, movement. And suddenly fear floods your chest. What if I open this door and there's nothing there? What if this is just another empty room? But that noise means there's something alive on the other side. The fear means you're close. Now I want you to do something with me. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to take a slow, deep breath. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it for 3 seconds. And as you breathe out, I want you to whisper, Jesus, I trust you. Do it again. Breathe in. Jesus, I trust you. Breathe out. Fear, you can leave now. Your body's tired. I know that. Your heart's been through too much. But faith doesn't make you younger. Faith makes you stronger. And right now, in this moment, you're stronger than you think. Let me be honest with you. I can't promise you that at exactly 11 p.m. tonight, your phone's going to ring with the answer you've been waiting for. I can't promise you that tomorrow morning your bank account will be full, or your body will be healed, or your kids will call. But I can promise you this. God is moving, and when He moves, the atmosphere changes first. That stirring you feel right now, that ache in your spirit, that's not your imagination. That's heaven leaning in. If you're scared of being disappointed again, but you're still here watching, I need you to do something. Type in the comments, I'm scared, but I'm staying. Because that honesty, that's faith too. Faith isn't pretending you're not afraid. Faith is staying in the room, even when you are. Now here's what we're going to do next. In just a moment, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to position yourself at 11 p.m. tonight, even if you're alone in a quiet room. I'm going to show you exactly how to sit in God's presence so that when He shows up, you're ready to receive what He's bringing. But first, you need to understand something. The battle you're in right now isn't random, it's strategic. And the fact that you're still here, still listening, still fighting to believe, means you've already won more than you realize. So don't you dare give up now. Now listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you isn't theory. This is the most practical, most sacred invitation you'll receive all year. Tonight, not next week, not when you feel more ready tonight, you're going to meet God at the 11th hour, and I'm going to show you exactly how. But first, let me ask you something that's going to sting a little. How many nights have you sat in that same chair, staring at the same walls, waiting for God to do something dramatic while you did nothing at all? How many times have you whispered, Lord, where are you? But never actually stopped long enough to let Him answer. See, here's the truth most preachers won't tell you. God has been showing up every single night. You just weren't positioned to receive Him. The 11th hour isn't about God finally deciding to pay attention. The 11th hour is about you finally creating space for Him to move. And tonight, that changes. I'm going to walk you through something so simple, so gentle, that even if your knees don't bend like they used to, Even if your body is tired and your mind is weary, you can do this. Because God doesn't measure your posture, He measures your heart. Here's what you're going to do. Before 11 p.m. tonight, I want you to set a small space. It doesn't have to be fancy. A chair by the window, a corner of your bedroom, a spot at the kitchen table where the light is soft. Just one place where you can sit without distraction for a few minutes. Bring one item with you, just one, something that represents your life story. Maybe it's a photograph of someone you lost. Maybe it's your Bible, worn and marked from years of searching. Maybe it's a wedding ring, a set of keys, a letter you never sent. Something that holds weight. This isn't superstition. This is symbolism. You're bringing your story to the table and you're saying, God, this is all I have. This is who I've been. Now show me who I'm becoming. At or near 11 p.m. And listen, if you fall asleep at 10:30, God isn't going to hold it against you. Sit in that space. Turn off the TV. Silence your phone. Let the house settle into stillness. And then, with everything in you, pray this simple prayer. Lord, I'm still here. I give you my remaining hours, my remaining days, my remaining breath. Show up however you decide. I trust your timing. That's it. No long speeches, no begging, no trying to convince God you're worthy. Just honesty, just surrender. Now here's what's going to happen, and you need to be ready for it. The miracle may not be a lightning bolt. It may not be a vision or a voice that shakes the walls. The miracle may be a shift inside you, a memory God wants to heal, a name that rises in your spirit, someone you need to forgive, or someone you need to call tomorrow, a peace that floods your chest, even though nothing around you has changed yet. Because the 11th hour isn't about God rearranging your circumstances in 60 seconds. The 11th hour is the moment heaven and your heart finally agree. It's the moment you stop resisting, stop doubting, stop living like you're invisible. Think about it. Jesus said in Matthew 20:6, "Why have you been standing here all day long doing nothing?" And the workers answered, "Because no one hired us." Then Jesus said, "You also go and work in my vineyard." Even at the 11th hour, there was still work, there was still purpose, there was still a place. You are not too old to be called. You are not too tired to be chosen. You are not too late to matter. God is setting a table for you tonight. He's the midnight guest, and He's been waiting for you to stop pretending you're not home. So here's your instruction. After you pray that prayer, sit in the stillness. Don't rush to fill the silence with noise. Let God speak. Maybe He'll bring peace. Maybe He'll bring clarity. Maybe He'll bring the courage to make one phone call tomorrow that changes everything. Stay open, stay soft, stay present. Because here's what I know. Tonight is not random, it's appointed. Before the foundation of the world, this moment was marked for you. This 11th hour was written into your story, and you didn't stumble onto this message by accident. God orchestrated this. Now, if you're going to set aside even 5 minutes tonight around 11 p.m. to sit with God, if you're going to position yourself to receive what He's been trying to give you, type this in the comments right now. I'll be there, Lord. That's your RSVP to heaven. That's your yes. And when you type it, angels take note. The atmosphere shifts. Hell gets nervous. And if this word is burning in your chest, don't keep it to yourself. Send this to a son, a daughter, a friend who's been sitting in the dark wondering if God still remembers their name. Because somebody in your life needs to know, God still shows up late in the day. Here's the final truth I need you to carry into tonight. You are not waiting for a distant God to maybe remember you. Tonight, at the 11th hour, God is the one waiting for you. He's been standing at the door. He's been watching the clock. He's been whispering your name into the stillness, hoping you'd finally stop running, stop hiding, stop believing the lie that you're forgotten. So, will you meet Him there? Will you show up tonight? Because I promise you He will. Let me ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. You woke up this morning, you looked around your bedroom, same walls, Same furniture. Same aches in your knees when you stood up. The bills on the counter haven't changed. Your phone still hasn't rung with the call you've been waiting for. The doctor's report is still sitting there, unopened, on the kitchen table, and somewhere in your chest, a whisper started. See? Nothing changed. Maybe I heard wrong. Maybe God didn't really move. Stop right there. I'm going to tell you something that's going to shift everything you think you know about how heaven operates. You ready? When God moves, the first thing that changes is not what you see. It's what already happened in the invisible. You're standing in your living room thinking nothing's different. But in the realm of the spirit, where angels take orders and demons lose their grip, everything already shifted the moment you said yes at the 11th hour. The problem isn't that God didn't move. The problem is you're looking in the wrong place. Let me break this down for you like a New Yorker who doesn't have time for games. You plant a seed in the ground. What do you see the next morning? Nothing. You go back the next day. Still nothing. A week passes. The dirt looks the same, but underneath roots are breaking through. Life is forming. The miracle is happening where your eyes can't track it. That's where you are right now. The bank account looks the same today. I get it. But in heaven's books, the transfer already cleared. That estranged child hasn't called yet. I hear you. But in the spirit, their heart is already softening. The medical report still says the same thing on paper. I know. But healing doesn't always announce itself with trumpets. It starts in cells you'll never see under a microscope. Hebrews 11:1 says it plain. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Substance, evidence, not feelings. Not proof you can touch yet, but substance, something real, something solid, something already in motion even though you can't put your hand on it. Listen to me. You've been walking by sight your whole life. That's what the world taught you. I'll believe it when I see it. But God is flipping that script in your 11th hour. He's saying, you'll see it when you believe it. And I know that's hard. Especially now. Especially at this stage of life, when your body reminds you every single day that time is real and limitations are pressing in. You don't have the luxury of waiting another 20 years. You need breakthrough now. But here's what you're missing. The lag between when God moves and when you see it is not punishment. It's not delay. It's process. It's the proof that something deeper than surface level change is happening. Think about a letter. You mail it on Monday. It's already in the system. Already moving toward its destination, but it doesn't show up at your door until Thursday. Does that mean it wasn't sent? No. It means it's traveling, and the whole time you're checking your mailbox thinking, where is it? It's already on its way. Your answer is already mailed, chosen one. You just haven't opened the mailbox yet. So, what does walking by faith actually look like when you're 65, 70, 80 years old and your circumstances haven't shifted yet? It looks like talking to yourself differently. Instead of rehearsing what's wrong every morning, you start declaring what God already said is right. You stop feeding fear with your words and start feeding faith. It looks like talking to God more honestly, no more religious fluff. You get real. You say, Lord, I don't see it yet, but I'm choosing to trust you anyway. My knees hurt, my heart's heavy, but I'm still here. And it looks like expecting good news instead of bracing for bad. Every time the phone rings, instead of thinking, what's wrong now, you start thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the call I've been waiting for. That shift, that tiny shift in expectation, changes everything. Now let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind. You think your painful memories, the ones that still sting when you think about them at 2 a.m., are proof that God forgot about you. But what if I told you they're actually evidence that He's touching the deepest layers of your story right now? What if those old wounds are surfacing not to destroy you, but because God is finally ready to heal what you buried 30, 40, 50 years ago? The 11th hour isn't just about new blessings. It's about old hurts finally getting their redemption. Nothing looks different. Yet, But heaven's calendar already flipped for you. The moment you believed enough to stay in this message, to say, "I'm still here, Lord," that was the moment the invisible became set in motion. So, I'm asking you right now, are you willing to walk by faith for the next 7 days? Even if your bank account looks the same, even if the phone doesn't ring, even if your body still aches, even if the evidence hasn't shown up yet? If you are, if you're ready to walk it out, type, "I'll walk it out" in the comments. That's your agreement with God. That's you saying, "I trust what I can't see yet." Because here's the truth that's going to carry you into the next part of this message. The breakthrough began the moment you believed enough to show up at the 11th hour. What you're waiting for is just the visible part of what God already started in the invisible. And what I'm about to show you next is going to prove that everything is already in motion. Now listen to me closely, because what I'm about to say might shake something loose inside you that's been locked away for decades. At the 11th hour, God doesn't just show up to change your future. He shows up to reframe your past. You've been carrying something, haven't you? Something you thought you buried so deep nobody would ever find it, not even God. Maybe it's that marriage that fell apart in your 40 seconds. Maybe it's the child you lost and never fully grieved because you had to be strong for everyone else. Maybe it's the dream that died so quietly you didn't even get to mourn it. You just woke up one day and realized it was gone. And you've been walking around with this weight pressing on your chest, thinking if you just don't talk about it, if you just keep moving, maybe it'll fade. But it didn't fade, did it? It's still there. Every night when the house gets quiet, every time you're alone with your thoughts. Some of you are still mad at God. You won't say it out loud, but I'm saying it for you. You're angry, you prayed, you believed, you trusted, and what you asked for never came. Or worse, it came and then got taken away. Some of you never forgave yourself for what happened 30, 40, 50 years ago. That decision you made, that moment you can't undo, that person you hurt, that opportunity you missed. And you've been punishing yourself ever since, believing God could never use someone like you again. Let me tell you something. The enemy doesn't want you to know. If that memory is resurfacing right now while you're watching this, it's not random. It's not the devil tormenting you. It's God preparing to touch it with his hand. See, at the 11th hour, God pulls out the old photo album you've been hiding under the bed, not to shame you, not to condemn you, but to heal the moments you never fully processed, the wounds you covered up but never cleaned out. You know what happens to a wound that doesn't get proper treatment? It festers, it gets infected, it spreads, and 30 years later, you're still limping from something that happened when you were 35. But tonight at the 11th hour, the great physician is making house calls. Think about Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown in prison, years of his life stolen, and then, decades later, standing face to face with the very brothers who destroyed him. He says this in Genesis 50:20. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." God didn't erase Joseph's story, he redeemed it. Every betrayal, every injustice, every tear. God took it all and wove it into a tapestry of purpose so beautiful that nations were saved because of it. That's what he's doing with you right now. That marriage that broke? God is using the strength you gained from surviving it to help someone else who's barely holding on. That child you lost. The compassion that loss birthed in you has made you a safe place for people who are grieving in silence. That dream that never happened? God is showing you that sometimes the dream was the preparation for something you couldn't have imagined back then. You didn't just survive your past. You carried the receipts of God's mercy through every single season. And now, at the 11th hour, he's cashing them in for healing. I need you to understand something. Your survival wasn't random. The fact that you're still here, still breathing, still believing even a little bit, that's not luck, that's assignment. There's a very specific reason God kept you alive through everything that tried to kill you. And I'm going to show you exactly what that reason is before this message ends. But first, you have to let him touch the wound. You've spent years building walls around your pain. Thick walls. Concrete walls. Walls so high you convinced yourself even God couldn't see over them. But here's the truth. God doesn't climb walls. He walks through them. And tonight, he's standing in the room with you, reaching toward the place that still hurts. If something from your past has been pressing on your heart while you're watching this, if tears are forming in your eyes right now and you don't even know why, just type this: Lord, heal this memory. You don't have to name it publicly. You don't have to explain it. Heaven already knows. But when you type those words, you're giving God permission to enter the room you've kept locked for decades. Because here's what happens at the 11th hour. Emotional pain resurfacing isn't failure. It's surgery. God is cutting away the infection so new life can grow. He's not digging up your past to condemn you. He's excavating it to liberate you. No one knows how much you still hurt. No one knows the nights you've cried yourself to sleep. No one knows the burden you smile through every single day. But God knows, and he's not asking you to be strong anymore. He's asking you to be honest. If he brought it back to your mind, it's because he's ready to touch it with his hand. So tell me, are you ready to let him in? Are you ready to stop guarding wounds that need healing and start trusting the only surgeon who can operate on a broken heart without killing the patient? Because what's about to happen next will show you that your scars weren't meant to define you. They were meant to direct you. Now let me ask you something, and I need you to answer this honestly, even if it's just in your heart. Why are you still here? No, really. Why didn't that heart attack 5 years ago be the end? Why did you survive that fall when the doctors said you shouldn't have? Why are you the one still breathing when your brother, your sister, maybe even your spouse has already gone home to glory? You think that's luck? You think that's just good genes or good timing? Listen to me closely. Your survival is not an accident, it's an assignment. Every single morning you wake up, even when your joints ache, even when you need help getting out of bed, even when you look in the mirror and barely recognize the face staring back that morning, is a divine appointment. God didn't keep you here because he forgot about you. He kept you here because he's still using you. The world looks at you and sees retirement. Heaven looks at you and sees deployment. See, here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Older believers carry something the young ones don't have yet. You've got 60, 70, 80 years of watching God come through. You've seen him make ways out of no way. You've watched him heal what the doctors said was terminal. You've felt him hold you together when your marriage was falling apart, when your kids went astray, when the bank account hit zero. You are a walking, breathing testimony that God keeps his promises. And that testimony, that's not just a nice story to share at church potlucks. That's spiritual ammunition. That's the kind of faith that shifts atmospheres. That's the kind of intercession that holds cities together when nobody else is even praying. You want to know why your grandkids are still alive right now, even though they're out there living reckless? Because you prayed. You want to know why your daughter, who hasn't stepped foot in a church in 15 years, just called you last week out of nowhere? Because you prayed. You want to know why that neighborhood kid who used to mow your lawn didn't end up in prison like everyone predicted? Because you spoke life over him every time you saw him. You are an 11th hour intercessor. That means while the world is sleeping, while the young people are distracted, while the culture is drowning in noise, you're standing in the gap. You're holding the line. You may not be able to run marathons anymore, but your prayers run faster than any demon can flee. Think about it like this. There's a lighthouse on a rocky shore. It's old, it's weathered, the paint is chipped, it doesn't move much. Doesn't look impressive to the tourists driving by. But when the storm comes, when the ships are lost in the fog and the waves are crashing 30 feet high, that lighthouse just standing there, just shining, is the only reason those ships don't crash into the rocks. That's you. You might feel like you're not doing much. You might feel like you're just existing, just getting through the days. But heaven sees you differently. Heaven sees you as the reason your family hasn't completely fallen apart. Heaven sees you as the anchor, keeping your bloodline from drifting into destruction. Your children might not call you as much as they should. Your grandkids might be too busy with their phones to really listen when you talk. But make no mistake, they need you. Not just for birthday cards and holiday visits. They need your prayers. They need your faith. They need the spiritual covering that only someone who's walked with God for decades can provide. Here's the part that's going to blow your mind. In the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how your prayers right now, today, tonight, at this 11th hour, can shift the entire trajectory of your children's and grandchildren's futures. Even if they think they don't need God, even if they've walked away, even if they've told you to stop preaching at them. But right now, I need you to hear this and let it settle deep into your bones. You are not extra, you are essential. God didn't leave you here as a leftover. He positioned you here as a sentinel. You're not fading into the background. You're standing on the front lines of a spiritual war most people can't even see. Every day you choose to get out of bed is an act of spiritual warfare. Every time you whisper a prayer for your family, you're launching missiles into the kingdom of darkness. Every time you speak a blessing over someone, you're releasing heaven's authority into their situation. You've lived long enough to know that nothing in this life is wasted. Not the pain, not the loss, not the years that felt empty. God's been writing your story the whole time, and now, right here, at the 11th hour, He's about to use every chapter. So let me ask you again, why are you still alive? Because God has an assignment with your name on it, and He's not done with you yet. If you're willing to be used by God in this 11th hour season, no matter your age, no matter your limitations, type in the comments right now, "Use my story, Lord." That's your yes to assignment. That's your agreement with heaven. You are not just an older person trying to get through your days. You are a living, breathing assignment God refused to cancel. And the question isn't whether He's going to show up tonight at the 11th hour. The question is, when He does, will you be ready to step into what He's been preparing you for your entire life? Let me ask you something that's been sitting heavy on your chest for years now. When was the last time your child called just to ask how you're doing? Not because they need money, not because there's a crisis, just called. When was the last time your grandkids sat still long enough to hear a story about Jesus, or even looked up from that phone? I know, I see you nodding. Because this pain, this specific ache, it's the one you don't talk about at church. It's the one you carry alone in the dark at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. You raised them right. You took them to Sunday school. You prayed over their beds. You showed them the way. And somewhere along the road, they walked off it. Now they don't call. They don't visit. And when they do show up, there's this distance. Like you're strangers living in the same bloodline. Your daughter married someone who doesn't believe. Your son hasn't stepped foot in a church in 15 years. Your grandbaby doesn't even know who Moses was. And the enemy whispers in your ear every single night, you failed them. But let me tell you something that's going to break that lie into 1,000 pieces. You didn't fail. You planted. And at the 11th hour, God is about to water every seed you ever sowed into that family, even the ones you thought died in the dirt. See, the world tells you that because you're older now, because your kids are grown and gone, because your body's not what it used to be, your influence is over, that chapter's closed. But heaven operates on a completely different clock. In God's economy, your 11th hour prayers carry more weight than anything you ever did in your youth. Why? Because now you're praying from a place of desperation. And desperate prayers, those shake the throne room. Look at Hannah in 1 Samuel. Barren, broken, mocked. But she prayed one prayer so raw, so honest, so soaked in tears that heaven had no choice but to answer. And she didn't just get a baby. She got Samuel, a prophet who changed a nation. Your tears for your children, God is bottling every single one. Psalm 56:8 says, He keeps them in a jar, not because He's sentimental, because He's strategic. Those tears are ammunition, I want you to see something clearly tonight. The reason your family is in chaos right now, the addiction, the divorce, the rebellion, the silence, it's not because God forgot them. It's because the enemy knows exactly who they are. He knows the anointing that runs in your bloodline. He knows if they ever wake up and turn back to God, they won't just get saved, they'll become weapons. So he's been working overtime to keep them distracted, broken, and far from the altar. But here's what hell didn't count on. You, still breathing, still praying, still standing at the 11th hour with your hands lifted and their names on your lips. Let me tell you what happens when a grandmother prays, when a grandfather intercedes, when someone in the final chapter of their life decides to cover their bloodline one more time. There was a woman in